Following on from the first BREW, we've got a second BREW, and I'm using exactly the same malt bill, apart from I'm adding 150 gram of porridge oats, because the oats that have gone in there have got their husks on, so I want a little bit more oatiness coming out. So there's 150 gram, I'll put the recipe up at some point. So I've just transferred and we're ready to mash in. Let's go. Well, we're mashed in, and I calculated that it should probably have the strike order. That's neighbours, thank you. Cheers, neighbours. Have the strike water at 78 in order to get a mash of around 65. I was wrong, we've got a mash of around 67, but that's still alright. Anywhere between 65 and 67 is alright for this grain bill, I think. Should be fine. Stop flickering, thank you. Alright, it's not going to stop flickering. I've got the herms set up so we can run it through the herms should we need to. I'm going to up this now to 84 because that helps the sort of herms, but also I'm going to sparge out at 84. So see, it's holding its temperature quite well, this particular. What are you doing, you idiot? Oh, crumbs, come on, wakey wakey. Right. That's it. That's good. So that will now click on to stay on, please. No, is it? See, it's trying to work it out badly. This is sat at 69. It's dropping titty bit, because remember, this particular mash tun, unlike that lovely thing from Ian Powell at Powell Brewing, this isn't insulated at all. And I would have used that, but it's too big, and it sounds strange, doesn't it? But that'll be perfect for the larger batches in new kit over there. But for now, we're back to the old faithful that I've been using for a few years now. This is what worries me, is how quickly this is dropping, because it's not insulated. Did I mention that? I'm going to give it another stir, come back later. To try and avoid it overshooting, on the herms, the recirculating, I have put this hose going down to near where the temperature, the PT100 temperature probe is, so it shouldn't overshoot too much. As soon as that gets to, when it does drop down, obviously it's a way off yet, but it will do. So when that gets to 64 and a bit, it will turn the pump on. So this will then come out of here, out. I better turn that on. That would help if it is going to recirculate. So out of here, down here, round, up, through the herms, out, in, down that tube to where the temperature probe is. So we might have a slightly more consistent temperature reading throughout that grain bed. Well, we won't, obviously, because it'll be hotter over there than over here, but you know, give it a stir, it'll be all right. This is the remains of the ginger beer. And all in there, in that little, this is cold crashing for you. Cold crash it down to, well, as it looks, freezing. And in there's loads of chunks of grated ginger. So by freezing it, technically we should have increased the alcohol content. Not by much, but by a bit. And a bit where we start the sparge. Just like that. What, crack the shutter. What a lovely day it's turned out to be out there. So we're doing a very, very slow sparge. I'm probably, now I don't want this to be massively strong, but because I'm going to huge amounts of dry hops, I'm going to start the boil off up here at about 35 litres, and I'm going to finish at about 26. Now I know this sight glass isn't very accurate, so that'll be down more like 25. And we will then, by the time I have dry hopped it, I'm going to do close transfer dry hop, it will almost certainly be exactly right to fill a corny keg. That's the theory. We'll see in a couple of weeks. But I should waffle on a little bit. No, I shouldn't. Just to wait for the grant to start, or the underback, depending on where you live. And then that, when that kicks in, we'll just had to make sure it was turned onto the underback. We'll take it through the pump, up and into the copper. In a minute, it will. That's strange. There we are, a little helping hand. Didn't think it was going to start there. Oh, well, crikey, that's sweet. Lovely. Right. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you might notice that I'm not actually using the Valentine arm. If I was, then this valve would be closed and this one would be open, and this would be level with the top of the grain bed. But as you can see, it's not a massively huge grain bed, so I'm not anticipating getting a stuck sparge. In fact, it doesn't look like I've got a stuck sparge, but if I had, I would have this level with the grain bed. This would be to stop a siphon, and then I'd have a hose just going down into the grant or the underback, and that keeps the water level pretty much just gently bathing the grains. And then the last little bit is where I would open that valve and just drain the last little bit out again into the grant. But it's looking good. It's not looking like there's going to be any issues with this sparge. And having said that, it will now stick. Right, skip the boil part because you've probably all seen that before, but I thought I'd just add the hops, make a little bit more of an interesting video. So they're going to sit there at 80 degrees for half an hour. We have a transfer. Look at that colour. Ah, it's beautiful. Here we go. The yeast is pitched. The WHC Brexit yeast. See what it's like. Something good's got to come out of Brexit, if only in name. I've taken a couple of slants, so who knows, if it's a good yeast strain we might be making more out of it, although I've got loads of other yeasts that I want to experiment with too. One of my favourites at the moment is the Sanders from no, where's the Sanders? I think that's WHC, yeah, Bernie. And I've got another one coming as well, which I can't remember what it's called. But for now, we're good. We're pitched. And a bit everybody likes, the clean down. Of course, all I've started doing with this is just rinsing it out to get rid of all the little bits of hops and stuff. And then under the rim here, obviously, give it a good old clean, just with water. And because I'm going to be using it again tomorrow, all I'm going to do is boil some water in there, and that will then clean it. I'm not going to bother with putting caustic in because it doesn't need it. It's not got loads of crap. What it has got, and this is a constant source of annoyance for me, these marks running up here, from just like the washer on the elements. The elements are stainless steel, but there's a little bit that is on the end there which isn't, and that's corroded. So every now and then what I'll do is dry. It doesn't alter the taste or anything. There's nothing wrong with it. It's purely cosmetic. But what I'll do every now and then is I'll just give this a nuking with phosphoric acid, and that just cleans that off. But it is, yeah, it's a pain in the arse. And phosphoric also does a good job of just cleaning these elements up. Anyway, I won't bore you with me being Mrs. Mop. I will go and have a coffee and start editing this rubbish, or I might show you it once it's in the fridge, just so you can see. That's just showing my pump cleaning. Sometimes I'll run it the other way so it forces the pumps to run backwards, but I did that a couple of brews ago. So it's coming out of here, going through this pump, down there, through the chugger pump, out of the chugger pump, through the plate chiller, out and into that bucket. And as you can see, it ends up pulling quite a lot of crap out. So I'm going to let that run through, then I'm going to drain the plate chiller, drain the pumps, drain the pumps, drain the pumps. Let's have a look in the fridge. This is the BREW Two with the Brexit yeast, which I think you'll agree is doing its job, and this is under pressure. So I think we can call that a stonking yeast, and it's down from it's down to 19. I can't remember where it started. It started somewhere around 48, 50. Sorry, no, it didn't. It started at 53, and it's down to 19 in 2 days. It's almost like a cake. But look at that beauty, and it smells sensational.